So why am I in an automotive repair place? Stay tuned and find out. G'day folks, how you going? This is episode 3 of Escaping Reality. In the last episode we had a look at the Nissan Navara and the Caravan to see what I had actually acquired. In this one we're going to have a look at some of the changes I've made to the Navara and accessorised it to what I wanted, and what we did with the Caravan as well. To start with, one of the big things we had to do was we found out when we had a service done on the Navara that the intercooler had a bit of a leak in it, a bit of a crack in it, so that needed to be changed, and I also installed a catch can. So we're going to start off with that. Right, I'm here in ABS in Midland with Craig, and Craig's going to be doing some work on my car. So Craig, perhaps you'd like to explain a little bit what we're going to be doing today.
Yeah, sure. So today we're going to be doing all catch can setup and an upgraded intercooler setup on John's car. John's got the D40 STX550 turbo diesel, so quite a powerful common rail diesel motor. So you see here we have an upgraded intercooler assembly. This goes away from the original design of intercooler. The original intercooler was quite weak, and in particular on John's car it had cracked around the seams here and was leaking oil externally on the vehicle. So the product we're using today is a high performance diesel, very good quality product. So we'll be completing the plumbing to the turbos, to the intake, and then mounting the actual intercooler assembly to the vehicle. With the diesel catch can setup, most common rail diesel cars don't have a catch can setup from factory. So again, we're using the high performance diesel catch can setup. Now, the advantage of fitting a good quality product like this is you're going to get a lot less oil contamination and carbon build up inside the actual engine air intake manifold. So the benefit of that is over time, most common rail diesel cars from about 60,000 k's through to about 150, you can start to notice some excess fuel consumption, some loss of power, especially mid-range or pickup. That can be attributed to excessive carbon inside the intake. So the job of the catch can is to actually stop the build up inside the intake manifold from oil being circulated back through the engine into the intake.
Alright, so yeah, alright, I think that pretty much explains what's going to be happening. I'm just amazed that these things aren't actually installed in cars from brand new. I mean, I knew nothing about what that was. I had to read up on the internet to find out what you were telling me about when you were recommending it. And yeah, I was sold, and I wanted one in there, and I just couldn't believe that they don't make it that way in the beginning. So, alright, well, I'll get out of your way and let you get started on the car.
Okay,
alright, thanks very much.
Thanks, John.
It's been a couple of days now since I've had the work done. The intercooler is down inside here, you can't see it from here, but if you have a look at the old intercooler you can see where the oil was leaking out of and how much smaller that intercooler was compared to the new one. So with the new one it's got more air going through it, it's got bigger hoses you can see here, so it lets more air into the engine and should make it perform a lot better. They say it should give about 11 kilowatts more power to the rear wheels, so basically it just means more grunt. The the catch can. This is it here. Just going back through the purpose of the catch can. You old fellas, you may remember back in the old days with the old Holdens and the Fords and that, they used to have that hose that come out the back of the rocker cover here that went down to the bottom, and the fumes and a bit of oil would drip out of that and just fall on the road and sort of disappear kind of thing. Can't do that anymore. That is now all plumbed back into the intake system and gets reburnt inside the engine, and that's where the problem is. What happens is inside the engine now is all sensors and all sorts of things, and if a couple of the wrong ones get clogged up, they can actually pretty much ruin your engine. So the idea is the catch can takes that oil and vapour and stuff out of the air system, stops your intercooler from getting clogged up. My old one had a little layer of oil in it because the oil had gone through it, so that reduces the airflow. So this takes it all out. It's got a little dipstick here so you can check to see how much oil is in the system. Once you've got enough in here, you just dump it, get rid of it, and then put it back together again, give it a bit of a clean out beforehand, and away you go again. The engine stays cleaner, runs better, and less chance of you having any problems further down the track. What changes have I made to the car? Well, the most obvious one is I've put a canopy on it. When we bought it, it had one of them hard lid things on it, and that was great. It was waterproof, but I figured I could use the space a lot more if I put one of these canopies on, and we'll have a look inside shortly. The other thing I did is I took out the 80 litre fuel tank and I put in a 135 litre fuel tank. My reasoning for that is because, particularly when you're heading north in WA, fuel in a lot of places is pretty expensive. With 135 litres in the tank here, it may mean I might be able to drive past some of those more expensive garages and get to the cheaper ones. I've also got 3 jerry cans that will be full of fuel in the back as well. I've got roof racks on the top. I'm going to be purchasing a flat tray roof rack to go across here, and I've got some new spare tyres with rims that matches this car. They'll go up on the top there as well. I don't know, I might put jerry cans up there, I don't know, but it's there. I've got a set of max tracks I've bought. They'll go up there as well, and a shovel as well, so if I'm somewhere and get stuck, I've got half a chance of getting myself out because I'll pretty much be on my own. What else have we done along here? We've installed a couple of CB radios. I'll show you them in a second inside. And I have just recently ordered some new spotlights, LED spotlights to go on the front, and a light bar as well. They should be here at the end of the week maybe. So what have I done in here now? Firstly, this has got leather seats. I hate leather seats. Doesn't matter what it's in, bus, car, truck, whatever. I hate leather seats. So what we've done is we've put in these were fitted lamb's wool seat covers, just to get away from the leather seats. And also in the back we put new seat covers in there because, again, leather seats, and don't want people to burn the back of their legs. So that was the first thing we did. We installed one of these computer devices which is supposed to let you cancel codes and things, so if something goes pear-shaped while I'm away, I'll be able to cancel the codes and things on the engine. It also gives me trip information, which is handy because I've got that big fuel tank in there now. The trip computer built into the car now won't work properly because it still thinks there's only an 80 litre fuel tank. So this should give me, hopefully, more information about how my fuel economy and what I've got left in the tank and all that sort of thing. It should hopefully tell me more about that. I've installed 2 CBs into this car. The reason why I've got 2, one of them's my old 40 channel radio, and I keep that on channel 40, the truckies channel, and the other one is I'll have that on channel 17, I think it's 17, which is the unofficial caravan channel, or if I'm travelling with friends or whatever, I can be yakking to them on that channel but still keep an ear out on what's going on the truckies channel. The radios, I'm going to talk more about that in a separate video because there's some things you need to know. You can't just buy a radio, pick it up and yak in it. There are certain legal things around it, and I want to go all through that. And I'll explain a little bit about how the whole thing works, including installing your aerials on the vehicle as well. But that'll be another video. So there's two radios there. What else have we done in here? I've installed a rear camera for the caravan. I said in the last video I showed how we had a wireless camera on this one when we bought it, and we never got the head that goes with it, so that there's nothing to talk to the camera at the back, so I had to install a new one. So I ended up putting in a what's he called? I can't remember what he's called. I'll put a thing down the bottom there that tells you what it is. But it's a cabled camera that runs from the back of the caravan through a connector on the back of the car and then up into here as well. I'll show you that in a little bit. That's pretty much about all I've done, I think, that I've done in the front here. In the back of the ute, I've installed these boxes. Now, this is a set of drawers I actually built for the Pajero. I've put them in here, and I've added some boxes around the side. This one here's got some storage boxes in it. So I've currently got some recovery gear, my original tow bar I've got in here, so if I get caught out and I need to tow something, I've got one with me. Inside this box here is for battery recharging of my cameras and stuff like that. This box here has a battery in it and all the circuit breakers and things like that in relation to the battery, the power supplies and the power going out to the caravan. On the other side over there's another box under there for storage of toolboxes or whatever else needs to go in there. And then along the back there's where that's where the fridges are going to go. Fridge tray there, so I've got a Waco 40 litre I think it is, fridge freezer that sits into that. I also have an older three-way fridge freezer that runs on gas and that, which if I need to I can sit in there, so that gives me an extra freezer or fridge, whatever I might need, with power supplies down here to run them while the car's running. Also inside here I have a 2000 watt inverter to run mains power if I want to charge batteries up for the drone or anything like that. That can be charged up in here as well. Now let's talk mirrors. So do you need to really have towing mirrors? Well, legally yes. You are required to be able to see what's going on behind your van. I recently read an article saying that in New South Wales what the coppers do is they measure from mirror to mirror, and then they measure your van how wide that is, and if the two aren't the same then you cop the fine. So the question is, what kind of mirrors? There are lots of different types out there. I've had many types, as you can see here. I've had a type that hung on the front of the car out on the side there. I mean, that worked pretty well. The problem you've got is when you pass trucks and everything, they get knocked off. These mirrors here that push in, they get pulled in with the force of the wind of trucks going through. This one's motorised, and I'm not really keen in putting pressure on the cogs. So this is a new one that I've just bought here. I'm trialling this one out. I've had this one here. This has got a magnetic piece on here with an arm which is supposed to give it more support to stop it from bending in. I've had mixed success with that. I think some of it may have to do with just getting it set up correctly, which is the hard part. So on my next trip I'll be trying this one out. But when you come to buying mirrors, think really hard about the kind of mirrors you want and whether they're going to work for your type of vehicle. So there's a lot more that's happened out the back here. I've taken the original trailer hitch out and I bought one of these type of hitches, which gives me the ability to change the height of the tow ball to try and get the caravan and the car on the same level. So I've got that. With that comes the weight distribution hitch, which is this. Now weight distribution hitch is designed to shift the weight of the caravan that's sitting on the back here and on the back axle, shifting some of that weight back onto the front axle. So rather than having sort of this kind of thing, so this is the caravan and this is the car, so that with the caravan on the car it pushes it down. The idea is the weight distribution hitch pushes it back up and helps it go level and gets weight on the front axle so that you don't get that light steering and hopefully you don't wobble down the road. Some people refer to them as anti-sway bars. They're not an anti-sway bar. They would have a small effect on stopping the swaying, but their main role and their main purpose is to distribute the weight back onto the front wheels. Should you have them on there or shouldn't you have them on there? Safety is my thing, so if it's going to be safer to have them on there, I reckon they should be there. If you don't put these on there, then you're losing some weight on them front wheels, and that's what you want to try and avoid, or else you're going to potentially come into problems further down the track. So I reckon yes, you should have weight distribution bars on. These are a heavy set because of a heavy caravan. You can get different type ones. I've got some up the back here which are only going to shift 90 kilos of weight from the rear axle to the front axle. These ones shift I think about 200 kilos or something, I can't remember, 150, something like that. So these are a heavy set ones. On the back here I also have these rock tamers I've put on. The idea of this is, as you're driving down the road, any rocks that come off the rear wheels will hit this and hopefully fall down, twiddle off to the side and not bounce up onto the back of the caravan. There are different types. I went for the rock tamers rather than the net that goes in between here, because I think after the rocks have hit the net a few times, they're just going to fall apart anyway. This is big hard rubber, so hopefully they'll last a little bit longer. What else have we got here? I have also installed a, well, I had to put a new hitch, a new connector on the back of the car, because the one I had on the back here was a 7-pin square plug, and all the big caravans now, because they've got fridges and battery charging, all that sort of thing going on in there, they take these 12-pin plugs. So I've had to take the plug off the back of that and install a new one to fit this. Also hanging on here is the cable which connects the camera from the rear of the caravan onto the TV at the front. So I've also put on here a another cable which has got the old Anderson plug on here, and this runs to my battery for charging the battery in the caravan while I'm driving. This also operates this little beauty here. When I had my old Pajero and my 20-foot caravan, I used to be able to reverse my caravan into its hole off the car, down the driveway. I've got a kink in my driveway, I could bring it down into here, no problem at all. With the new van being 21 foot, the new car is a twin cab ute, so it's a little bit longer, it's a little bit wider as well. I now can't get the caravan and car together around the corner to get it in. So how did I solve that problem? I bought one of these things. I reckon it's absolutely brilliant, because I just bring the car down the driveway, disconnect the caravan, put this thing on, and it's remote control, runs off the Anderson plug which is off the battery in the caravan. I can walk around the caravan keeping an eye on all the corners and just push the button and it does where I want it to go. I can turn it left, right, no problems at all. Considering it's a tandem, it actually turns quite well. Get it into here without a problem whatsoever. The original one I was going to get had, I don't remember the name of it, but there were 4 motors that were one on each wheel, and that was a really good one because that could go up over curves, it could go over grass, loose surfaces. It didn't really matter, and while you travelled around you had it with you, so you got into a caravan park where it was a little bit tight cornering, didn't matter, disconnect, drive it off of those motors instead, park your van, not a problem at all. But that was $4 grand. There's 4 wheels, so I needed to have 4 motors, so it was quite expensive. This one here was a little over $2 grand, so it's a bit cheaper. Only thing is I don't carry it around with me. I leave it here at home when I go away with the caravan. But this is a real good investment. as for the van, what did I do? Well, I put a couple of TVs in, like I said, bought a portable barbecue to put on the table outside there. I fixed the seal on top of the toilet, and I put a new reverse camera in. That was about it. There was nothing else I really had to do. I knew how much money I was planning on spending, and my intention was to get as much as I can in the van that I buy rather than having to put it in. It would work out cheaper that way. The only thing it doesn't have is solar panels on the roof. Now, I haven't decided now if I'm going to put panels on the roof or if I might just have one of them fold out ones. We'll see where I go with that. Well, I think that's more than enough for this episode. If you liked what you've seen, hit the thumbs up down the bottom down there and consider subscribing to the channel. Anyway, until next time, happy travels. Well, I think that's more than enough for this episode. So if you liked what you've seen, hit the thumbs up down the hit the thumbs up. Not that one, that one. Probably should have thought about what I was going to say first.